Hello, world changers! Welcome back to another amazing podcast. I'm super excited about tonight's episode. We are shooting a little bit early. I'm going on vacation this week, so I figured my good friend Carlene said she would love to be a guest, and I am very excited about it. So I will let Carlene introduce herself, and then we'll move on to the topic.
Hello, I am Carlene. I am a mom of 3 boys. I am a union laborer, a massage therapist, and just a person trying to find balance in life.
And that brings us to our topic of the day, which is trying to find balance in this crazy life, whether it's from what stages of life you need to find that balance to, what we can do mentally, physically, that kind of thing. So stick around and you'll definitely, if not learn something, you'll definitely know that there's people out here that are struggling with things every day and that we just have to kind of keep on moving. So one of our first things that we can kind of talk about is, one, Carlene is literally amazing. She is, she's doing so many things, and like she said, 3 boys and a cat and a dog.
Oh yes,
So
my
don't
four-legged children.
don't forget about
I
Pudge.
forgot.
Don't you forget about Pudge, damn it.
How could I?
And she really is. You really impress me. And I know you always say like, "Oh, I'm not doing enough," or "I'm struggling today," and it's just, who cares?
Right.
You freaking deserve to struggle, dude. You're crazy.
Yeah.
You're doing so much. So it's, I mean, especially with Carlene is starting her own business, and I want her to talk a little bit about that or a lot about it.
Yeah.
Because it's something that really could help people in their lives, and not only help you, but help so many people that struggle. So you can.
Yeah, so the business that I am starting, my name for my business is going to be Dabble into Wellness. I have tons of ideas and things that I want to do, but there's never enough time, and finding balance is one of the hardest things there is to do. So it's just massage therapy because I just think it's so beneficial for people that struggle with mental health and addiction. I think a lot of people, assume, oh, well, I'm in pain, they think from a physical injury, you need to go to a chiropractor and get massage or whatever. But a lot of it is mental stuff, mental health. Our brains are what control our body. And what I learned in massage therapy school is that, all the stress that you're under and everything that you go through and trauma, it's stored in your body, and it's how our bodies react to different situations. If you've been through anything traumatic, your emotional brain takes over rather than your rational brain, and that is something that I have struggled with for a very long time, and also was not aware about until a couple years ago, when I quit drinking. You don't realize it doesn't come to you right away, how you act, until maybe somebody tells you, or
And it can be so friggin' hard. I mean, it's you're right. The people are like, oh, I hurt my back needs to be cracked. I'll go to the chiropractor. But then, you break your heart. Somebody breaks your heart, or you lose somebody in that grief. And as somebody that has lost somebody close to me, I stored that grief for so long, and I never knew how to release it. And to this day, I'm still learning and struggling. And maybe I should go get a massage. But it's changes your life on how you release it, because otherwise, if it's pent up, then you're literally storing. It's just like, have you ever watched Black Panther?
No.
Black Panther? Oh
my boys have, but I
oh my
have
god!
not.
Well,
It's really good.
It is very good. There's a suit so Black Panther wears this suit, and when people hit him, it stores the energy. So you could hit him really hard, and it'll store the energy, and then he can release that energy on to others. And that's literally what it is. If you're emotionally hurting, it's gonna turn you angry. It's gonna turn you over emotional, and you need to get that out. And if it's not, you're not channeling your stuff, you're gonna friggin' blow up on everybody you come in contact with, and they're not gonna know that you're going through something. They're just gonna think you're a huge dick.
Yeah.
And so it's really, you need to find that outlet, whether it's going and talking to a therapist or going to a massage therapist and getting a massage so that you can get those pressure points friggin' done. And that's how long ago did you go to massage therapy school?
So I went to school at Lake Superior College in Duluth in 2018, and it's like a year program. And I have to say, like, we were the happiest class because every day we were practicing massage therapy. Like, you would see
on each other and stuff, right?
Yeah. So you would see, like, the dental hygienists and the nurses, like, during finals week, and, like, they literally looked so angry, and we're just like, ooh, you know, like, because we didn't have finals, and, like, we just did clinicals, which is, like, people would come in and pay a discounted price to get massage.
Gotcha. Dang, wish I would have known.
Yeah, right. It's like, it's so good though. Like, I love doing it because I love helping people, and sometimes I'll get clients that come in and they're just so like you can literally see how tense they are, and they're just, you know, going through a lot, and then they get on the table, and like 10 minutes in, they're just like, they completely let go. And, like, you can see all the stress and how it is stored in people's muscles. I just had a client last night where he was super stressed out and, like, just, like, he was struggling with an injury and wasn't able to do what he wants to do, which I also understand because I've gone through my own pain. But as soon as 10 minutes in, like, I'm giving him a massage, and, like, his skin feels tight because the muscles are so contracted and tight, and it starts to just loosen up, and then even their breath starts to like calm down. So, and it can be therapeutic for me, you know, like, it calms me down too.
Just helping get through that tenseness, just to feel that you did that is pretty cool.
I've literally given people massages and, like, put them to sleep within, like, 10 minutes. Like, they're drooling.
That's the best. Well, you know, after my dad had passed, we were all, after the funeral, we were all back at my granny's house and, you know, telling stories and stuff and laughing, and my granny's best friend is a massage therapist. And so, you know, everybody else was kind of asking our family, you know, what can we do? Bringing food by, what can we do? And in that grief, you can't do anything. It's just not. So my granny's best friend started giving our family massages. And she massaged my granny for like an hour and didn't complain one time that her hands were sore or nothing. And I knew, and I was like, aren't you, like, tired? And she's like, not as tired as your granny is. Right. And so, and you could just see it in my grandma's face, like, the sadness was 100% there. It was, you know, incredibly terrible, but it was like a relief of, like, for this moment, I don't have to be so sad. I can think about how good this feels and how much I needed a good friend to rub my shoulders. And she was like going around and asking. She got to me. She's like, "Can I give you a massage?" And I was like, "Can I give you a massage?" Like, you're freaking tired, dude. You're fine. And that is really, you know, people don't really understand those types of friendships, and especially that type of. I think that when people hear, like, massage, that they're going to get a massage, they're like, "Oh, you're so pampered, you know, you're so spoiled." But it's like, some people really, really need that. And so it's really nice that is what, I mean, you do so much as it is, but to, you know, build your business off of helping people is such a amazing, it's a world changer move. And that's, you know, I have guests that will message me and they'll say, "I want to go on your podcast, and I'd love to have new guests on the podcast, but are you a world changer?
Right.
Are you going to come on here and you're going to say, I want to help people, I want to do the right thing, or are you going to act a fool?" So there's a difference.
Yeah, do you want to contribute and make a difference in this world? And, exactly. Like, I feel like there's something pushing me to do that. And I can't change the world all by myself, but I can like offer my services because I know that massage therapy is so great, especially because I've been through so much.
Mm-hmm.
And I went to the massage therapy program at a time that I really needed it because grief has been with me for a long time. I've lost a lot of people, and it helped me through a very tough time. And massage therapy is about like connection, and I always tell people, like, if you can find a massage therapist that you trust and can be comfortable with and completely let all of that go, like, it's a mini vacay from reality, because we live in such a busy world that we don't take the time to slow down and take care of ourselves.
Oh, 100,000%.
And as humans, we weren't meant to live in this fast-paced type of world. And I just feel like with everything going on in society, and like prices going up, and rent, and groceries, and gas, and trying to do it all and find balance, like, the pressure comes down on you. And I think that's why so many people suffer with addiction. You know, I did. Like, when I quit drinking, I realized, that's when I opened my eyes and realized how much, like, and what I was drinking for. Every little thing. Like,
100%.
oh my god, I'm super stressed. Crack a bush latte. Like,
exactly. Well, and that's one of our topics, is finding this balance without that vice. And we were talking before we started that, you know, I used to be a really heavy smoker. I smoked from, you know, 17 just for fun with my friends, into college just for fun. It was accessible, it was easy, it was social, whatever. And then my dad died, and I used it as 100% a crutch. You know, I was feeling sad, smoke. I was, you know, we were out with friends, and, you know, it was just such a thing. And so when I realized that I was using it as a crutch, and that I would never be able to level up in my life without getting rid of it, it was really hard to quit, but I had to. Or like, for years I bit my nails. For my entire life I bit my nails.
I used to be really bad too.
I was like, I'll never stop. I'm never gonna stop. And then literally a few months ago, I was like, nobody's gonna shake hands with a businesswoman that bites her nails. And I'm like, months in, have not bit my nails at all. I actually have to repaint them. Like, never have done that. And so escaping those vices seem freaking impossible. Seems like you'll never be able to do it. I thought I would smoke my whole life. Now that I don't, though, I feel so good. And the same with drinking. I drank really hard in high school. I don't like drinking anymore because alcohol is gross and it makes me throw up. I don't like that anymore.
Yeah.
So it was easy for me to not drink. But it's definitely like, you want to go out with your friends. You want to be social. And people don't want to give up the friends that are, I will say toxic, but I don't mean it as like, you know, they're not going anywhere in their life, but they also are using alcohol as a crutch, and it's influencing you to use that alcohol as your distraction from what you really need to get done. And so quitting anything is going to be freaking almost impossible. But then when you do it, it's so rewarding because you did it. It's not, you know, people are like, oh, I quit cold turkey. Well, good for freaking you, dude.
Yeah.
Like, that works with some people, it doesn't work with other people, and that's okay. It's all a part of your journey in the stages of your life. Are you the same place that you were 10 years ago? No. Could you have been? Yes, 100%. So it's really hard. Life is freaking hard.
It's very hard. And like you said about everybody's on their own journey, like, one thing that I've struggled with when I quit drinking is, like, I think that we're under the impression, like, that we're gonna quit and then everything's gonna be good. And that's just not the way it is. Like, trust me, there's still days where I'm like, maybe I should just go get, you know, effed up. And,
and have fun.
But
and
I
do
know
this.
that will probably put me in jail or dead. Like, to be honest, because...
Legit.
Like, my dad used to say, one's not enough and 1,000's too many. And that's because he could never stop at one. I could never stop at one. It's like, once I got that warm, fuzzy feeling, it's balls to the wall. And, like, I would go on benders. It's not good for anyone. Like, so, yeah, it's a nonstop struggle. I'm getting better, definitely. Like, I think like the smell of alcohol and stuff like that makes me nauseous, and I think that's because it just reminds me of all the days that I felt like complete shit. Like, and it took me away from being a good mom, because like I just waste a whole day laying there dying on the couch because
hungover and
because I went so hard. Yeah. And then also, like, I don't smoke cigarettes, but when I was drinking, I would smoke a bunch of cigarettes, and that just like makes it 10 times as worse. But unfortunately, we live in an area where it's like so acceptable to just party.
There's a freaking tap house on every block. Do we need a Whole Foods in Superior? Yes. Did we just open 2 other friggin' tap houses? Yes. It's terrible. It's so. I mean, Superior at one point had like, it was like 49 bars on Tower.
Why?
Like,
why?
Like, you literally would go outside to smoke a cigarette and you'd be like, yeah, I'll just go in this bar. And then you could do that for freaking 3 days straight. It's insane. And even people with, like, nicotine. Like, I have a friend who is and nicotine for me, I may have, like, puffed on a cigarette, like, once or twice in my life. I just never liked it. I didn't like the nauseous feeling. Mm-hmm. I just never dug it. But I have a friend that, like, gets super pissed off without his nicotine, and it's so infuriating, and I bug him about it, and he's like, oh, I gotta go buy my vape, and I'm like, dude, how much money, 1, would you have if you didn't friggin' buy nicotine? 2, do you think that you cannot expect somebody else to change your life. Mm-hmm. So I can nag on you forever. Mm-hmm. But you're never going to change unless you look in the mirror one day and you're like, dude, I got to slow down.
I can't do this anymore.
I'm going to die. Like I'm going to run freaking 3 steps and be gassed cuz your lungs are just not right. And something that really bugs me about America itself is that America has no balance. You are working too much. You work freaking like, it's like 300 days out of the year, and you maybe get like, no, not even. You work like 320 days out of the year and get 45 days for vacation. Not even.
There's literally no time for yourself. Or to take care of yourself.
Yeah, and people are like, oh, okay. Or if people are like, oh, I can't afford any kids, but I'm going to keep having kids. Like, I have a cousin that has like 4 kids, and 3 of them are in foster care.
I can't afford kids either, but I got 3.
Yeah, but I got them. And it's like, it's because America has built this way. Because one, birth control is the devil. I mean, anybody does birth control, they're gonna get sick. I was on birth control for years. It was terrible. And it's just like, the way that America has balanced it is, if you're rich, awesome, you're gonna friggin' succeed. But if you're poor, you're never gonna get to do that balance unless you act like the rich people, which people are like, that's easy. Business owners right here, it's not easy. It's freaking hard, dude. They don't make it easy. And that is like one of the things. It's just so, the balance of life is so incredible. And then you have trauma. And then you have to be a mom. You have to be strong. You have to do the things that you have to do. You have to be a mom. You have to go through your trauma. You have to work every day. It's like you're just fucking burning the sorry, excuse my language. This is the first time I ever swore on the podcast.
That's okay.
You're burning the candle at both ends. And how do we do it? How do we find that balance? And that's the realest question that we'll ask on this podcast. And we'll give you guys our advice on how we have found that balance, or how we haven't found that balance and we're still grasping for it. It's just crazy.
You literally have to, like, dedicate time to do it, or try to do it, and then, like, I don't know. It's a mental trip, and it's so hard to find balance, but, like, I have to go to the gym because there's just so much that I deal with, like, being a mom and trying to please children all the time, but then also struggling with my mental health because I've lost a lot of people. And so with that comes the trauma, and my emotional brain takes over a lot of the time, and it just feels like constant pressure to always have to be, like, to clean the house, to get to work, to cook the food after work, like, and then usually nobody's ever happy. So then it's like
cook there. You spend 2 hours cooking, and they're like
shutting down. They're like, Yeah.
It's impossible. And finding the things that will balance you out, like, for me, the last few years, I have been finding that balance because I want to be a successful business owner. I want to change the world. I want to help all the animals. I want to be able to, pay for my friend's life, basically. I want, somebody's like, I'm struggling with money. I want to be like, here's $1,000. Like, there you go. And finding that balance for me is, like, I used to sleep in a lot. It's like my number one thing. If I could get an extra hour of sleep, I'm sleeping in, no doubt. And now I force myself to get up because I have work on the computer to do. Or if I'm like, I don't really want to sit on the computer, or I'm going to be streaming tonight, I can do streaming and work on my computer at the same time. I can balance out, okay, I'll be on the computer later. Let's go take my dogs for a walk in the woods. Let's get outside for this long, then I can be on the computer for this long. And it's basically like having a mom in my head, but it's just me. And I'm like, okay, if I eat this right now, am I going to eat this late? Can I eat this later? And it's just like, for me, it's just, it's discipline is what it is. It's just, what are you going to do today that is going to benefit you tomorrow, next month, the year after? What are you doing today? Even if you could have 1,000 things. My mom always says this to me. I go, Mom, I'm so stressed out. I have this, and this to do. And she goes, what is the one thing you can get done today? Mm-hmm. And I'll do that one thing, and I'll feel, at first I'll be like, oh, it's not enough. But then I do that one thing, and I'm like, I'm a baller, dude. Like, how did I do that? I don't know. And it's just like one thing. Do the next right thing.
And that's how you have to think, too. Like, I started doing that, too, because I was getting overwhelmed, and I'm like, well, I didn't get shit done today. Like, but you have to think of it the way that you just said, where, like, even if it's the smallest thing, you got to be like, hey, I did that today. Like, exactly. I got that done. And then that's also retraining your brain, like the positive thinking, because we are so, like, the go-to is the negative thought process, and that's one thing that I struggle with, where it's like the negative thought process, and then you just spiral down a hole.
100%. Especially, like, being an adult, we can kind of catch ourselves in it now, especially because, especially you with kids. If you catch yourself in a negative mindset and you're acting negative, your kids are going to, especially your toddler.
It's really, really hard for me. There are days that are really, really bad, I'll be honest, where, like, it's just, it's hard to get out of. Mm-hmm. And some days I just have to have those days, and, like, I don't even want to leave my apartment, but the next day I'll be fine, and I'm in, like, a bubbly mood. It's like I gotta reset.
I think that would be balance in itself. Like, some days you just need to chill out.
Me and my friend Sam, we've just been talking about riding the wave, like, and sometimes it's rough seas out there. You just really gotta hang on.
And some days it's friggin' cool. Dolphins are jumping. For me in high school, I grew up with a lot of. And my husband always says, because my husband grew up with, like, real trauma, his childhood was really rough. Mm-hmm. And, and I obviously won't go into a bunch of that because that's his deal. But for me, and I always tell him, I say, I hear you and your trauma, but don't downplay my trauma.
Yeah.
Because I understand, you've been through hell and back, quite literally. But I survived my trauma, which was really, it deteriorated who I was. Mm-hmm. Whether it was, growing up with a really strict alcoholic dad who, he was high functioning, 100%. But, then he would get really wasted and tell me how disappointed he is. And it was like me trying to figure out who I was and, getting bullied at school. And so you have all this pressure as a kid, and you don't even know who you are yet. So you have all these people that are like, you gotta be like this, you gotta be like this, don't do this, don't do this, don't do that. But they did all those things, and they're trying to help you learn, but you don't want to listen because you want to make those own mistakes. Do I wish I didn't make a bunch of mistakes? Yeah. Do I wish I would have listened to some of the adults that gave me advice? Yes. Am I one of those adults now that try to give my younger family members and younger people that I know advice? Yeah. Are they going to listen? Probably not. And they're going to make those mistakes. But that is that was one of the struggles that I had to struggle through, or else I would not be the person I am today. I had to stand up to the bullies. I had to, I had to live, I had to find the balance of, am I going to let people's opinions of me defeat my own opinion of me? Am I going to let them win? And then I was like, no, screw you. Think what you want. I'm going to do what I want. I'm going to live my life. And now I stand by that today as a 25-year-old. And, all the kids that bully me are, like, having kids now. And they're like, and I'm just like, I feel bad for your kids because you're so fake. You're, like, the fakest people ever. And my mom always says,
I don't do fake. I can't stand it.
I just can't. And
I think that's why me and you became friends so easily is because, like, we're
I still
real.
remember the day I met you.
Yeah, right, same. And, like, I think also me and you are alike in the way that, like, we're gonna tell you what's up.
Exactly. Because
even if you don't want to hear it, like, that I don't want to hear it from you, but, like, you tell me anyways. And I hear you, and like you said about, like, your dad, and you wish you would have listened to the adults and stuff like that. I say that all the time. Like, I really wish I would have listened to my dad. Like, I always have. I've always listened. I just never followed through.
I hear you. I get you saying.
And then I learned the hard way. And then I'm also the oldest, so... like
You're the first one to learn.
Yeah, I'm the first one to learn, and so, like, same thing. Like, I'll be telling my siblings, like, oh, you probably shouldn't do that. Like, you're gonna ruin your life. Like,
and they're like, what do you know? And
make
it's
smart
like,
choices.
it's impossible, and it's just, though, it's those type of friendships that are the people that you should stick around, and that's, like, one of the things about finding balance. Okay, yeah, you go to the bar and you go and have drinks with those friends. But then do you have friends that you're with and you're like, I want to do this, I want to do this, I want to build this business, I want to build myself up, I want to do this and this and this. Because if you don't have those friends and you're just out drinking all the time, you're not moving forward. You have to, I was just telling somebody, I had my friend on last week, and, I was telling him that you need to surround yourself with positive people. Because he goes to our youth group. And he said that once he started going to the youth group, he could visibly see his life changing for the better. Because he was, instead of hanging around people that were negative and, doing drugs or drinking, he was around people that believed in not only this higher power, but also each other. And how uplifting is that for me to, post in this group chat and be like, hey, I'm starting my business. And to have 15, 20 people be like, oh my gosh, I can't wait to download it. And it's just like, I'm super thankful. When I was in high school, I didn't have that. I had, like, one friend that didn't bully me. Everyone else was a total dick. And I was just, like, doing my own thing. And I always longed for, like, that friend group that we'd all have these different talents and perspectives. But then we would be like this family. And I was like, I'm never going to get that. I'm never going to get that. And fast forward 6-7 years later, and I literally, every single person that was in my wedding was the closest people that I can always rely on.
Best wedding ever.
I wish
I'm so
I could
glad I got to be a part of that.
I know it was the best day of my life.
I got the best videos.
It was the best day of my life. It was the best day of my life. And, it's really hard to not have that special friend group, but I would much rather be alone for a little while, get rid of all the toxic friends, and then gradually start gaining those world-changing friends. And that's what I did. I was alone for so long that I was just okay with being alone. Then I met Emily Pills. And then Emily and I became really close, and I rescued her cat, and then we became best friends. And then I met so many other people, and then I met Harold, and then Harold introduced me to Zoe and Damien, Weirdo, and all these people, and we, like, all of a sudden they were calling me, like, their sister, and that if anybody messed with me, like, they're acting like my older brothers, almost, and even though some of them are younger than me, and, it was just such a special feeling that, what if I didn't wait? What if I just settled for these drunken dummies? I would have never found Harold. I would have never found this amazing friend group. And it's like, you might have to struggle to get where you need to go. And that struggle, when you get to the place that you're going to go, is going to be a huge life lesson. And that's, especially as business owners for us, we take a lot of these life lessons and we put it into our business. And that's all we can do. Because we can fail.
Yeah.
We can fail.
Well, yeah. Like, I mean, you gotta think of it like you might.
Yeah.
But, and one thing that I forget to remind myself of is, like, whatever happens is what was intended to happen for you in the universe. And it wasn't meant to be, but it'll work itself out, like, and you're gonna be okay. But it's when you're in a negative thought process, like, it's hard to get out when things are going bad all at once, and that's usually it's Murphy's Law.
Yeah,
it's like three things.
Yeah, it's Murphy's Law, if it can go bad, it will.
Yeah, and I used to say, call me Murph, short for Murphy's Law, because
Call me Murph,
if anything can go bad, it will, because so much shit has happened to me, like.
Literally.
But they say what I mean by three is it comes in threes.
Yeah.
So
something bad will happen.
So if like two things happen, I'm like, well, where's the third one? Yeah. Usually. Like,
I just said the other day, I was like, life's going really well right now.
This is scary.
When am I gonna get hit by a truck? Like,
what's going way too
Yeah,
smooth.
I'm having way too much fun. My life is feeling so balanced. When am I gonna hit the iceberg? And that's trauma. That's just...
You're like bracing yourself.
I'm like on a roller coaster, just heading up, waiting for the drop. And that's literally the struggles that we faced and the trauma that we've been through, because we're just like, our brains are like, okay, you're about to get messed up, so you got to be prepared for it. But in reality, things could just go good. Like, right. People that have no trauma, things could just go good for once. And then for us, though, do I feel lucky to have all this trauma? No, I don't think so.
I'm broken.
Am I falling? Am I constantly gluing pieces back? Yes, but I do know how to take a hit now. And I know how to get... So I could fail 1,000 times, but I'm going to get up 1,001 times. And I'm never going to stop. And I can't take credit, when people ask me about Ponder and they're like, oh, did you do everything by yourself? I'm like, oh, yeah, developing, website. The business is 100% mine. Could I have done it without the people around me? Hells no. I would have quit so long ago after, getting scammed and all these bad things happening. But I knew that if I quit, that I would never be able to take care of you or anybody else in our group. And it's like, that's... I don't care if I become a billionaire, which I will be, but even if I don't, as long as I just change the world for the better, make a little bit of money doing it, move to a compound, off-grid. Off-grid, nobody knows where I am, that's what I want. Because it's just like, the world is freaking scary, but you have to take care of your own. You cannot, and it was funny when you said, this was when I first said that I was, doing the podcast, and you're like, oh, support you support me. And I read this message, and I was like, is she dumb? I said, is she a dummy? And obviously, I would support. You could literally say, hey, I just pooped in the street, and I'd be like,
good for you.
Good for you. Get that out of there. And so it's just
like Bridesmaids.
We tried to watch that. We have to watch that. Oh my
god, yeah, that was the best.
We should do another girls' night of doing that. But we tried to watch it, and it kept freezing. It was like 3 a.m. We were out all night. We're like, I'm going back. I don't fucking care. And it's just like, you can sit there and you can build yourself up and build yourself up and build yourself up, which is great. You should. But when you get to the top and you look around, are you going to be looking down at a bunch of people saying, man, I wish I would have supported them from the start? Or are you going to be like, yeah, high five. Yeah. We're on the same level. That's because I brought you up and you brought me up and we're up here together. And that's what I'm really fortunate to have started this podcast, so that I can bring people, world changers, on here, and they can talk about their passions and we can talk about our struggles, because everyone thinks that they're alone until you hear somebody talk about them going through the same thing. You're like, dang.
It's about connection, and like, that's one thing that I've struggled with too. Like, when I get in that negative thought process, I I forget about my friends because I'm so consumed
with the negative.
with everything in my head that I literally forget about my positive friends who I should be reaching out to. And that's what people need to do, like, you know, when they're trying to find balance or whatever. Like, if you suffer with addiction and you're trying to quit drinking or doing drugs or whatever, it's about connection. Like, you need to surround yourself with positive people because it's going to have a positive effect on your mental health and make you feel better.
Well, you know, I've had a problem with this in the past where, you know, I'll constantly, because I constantly check in on everybody. I'm always messaging, I'm always whatever, and, you know, I have those friends that don't message me back, or I'll say, hey, you want to do this? And they'll say, no, I can't, but then they'll go hang out with other people, and it hurts my feelings, and then I'll tell them. Sometimes I'll hold it into myself, and then sometimes I'll be like, hey, hurt my feelings. And they'll get mad at me and be like, whoa, whoa, whoa.
Yeah.
And it's like, I don't need you to, like, I don't need you to say sorry. I need you to acknowledge that my feelings do matter and that you're not trying to hurt them. Like, oh, I wasn't trying to do that. And so for a long time, one of my bridesmaids, you know, I stopped talking to her. I was like, dude, she's a bad friend. I was like, you're a freaking bad friend. But I never thought, and I told her that many times, but I never sat there and thought, what is she going through?
Right.
Why isn't she responding? You know, why doesn't she want to hang out? I only thought, man, she's so freaking selfish. Like, I'm such a good friend and you're out here bailing on me. But I never for a second thought. And so I actually ended up apologizing to her. And I was like, dude, I know you're a bailer. I know that I should just expect it because you got a lot going on and sometimes you just don't want to come. And I get that. I said, so from now on, like, if you say you're going to do something, do it. If you don't think that you're going to make it, just tell me. So that I don't expect you to be there. But, like, we need to come up with a system where you can still be in my life and I'm not going to get pissed at you every single time I talk to you. And she was like, dude, I'm so sorry. You're such a good friend. And she was in my wedding. And it was like, I wouldn't have ever had those memories of that day with her if I never had just got over my own selfish thoughts and feelings.
Right.
It's just like, we don't know what we're going through.
That's something also that I've struggled with, where you take things, like, I've taken things personal too, but, like, I've never looked at the other perspective. So now that's something that I really do in people's situations and stuff. I try not to judge. I try not to give, like, my opinion, because you don't know what that person is going through. And, like,
exactly.
I don't know, it's just, yeah, you gotta maybe just always think, like, well, you don't know everybody handles things differently, and you don't really know what's going on. And because I know that I've been through things too, and, like, you've said things to me, I'm not gonna talk about what it was, okay. But I think you know, where you told me, oh, I'm failing you. And I'm like, no, you're internalizing my problems.
Yeah.
But it has nothing to do with you and everything to do with me. Like, so I was trying to tell you, like, don't do that, because, like, I used to do that too.
And it can be harmful.
It can be harmful.
Not only to our friendship, but to myself and yourself.
And that's where we need to retrain our brains on that, because I've had to do it too.
Yeah.
Like, but we're all learning and growing.
It's the I can save you mentality.
Yeah.
Like, let me help you, but, you know, in situations, and you taught me this, is that in certain situations, nobody is gonna, and we were just talking about it with nicotine, you can tell somebody to stop, you can tell somebody to leave, you can do all these things, but they are not going to do it unless they want to go, if they want to stop, if they want to do, they're gonna do whatever they want to do. So I can either sit there and be there for them and support them in whatever positive thing that I can do, or I can let them face it alone. And, you know, having dealt with suicide in my life, I will never do it again. I'll never, ever, you know, I wish every day that, I mean, the last few years of my dad's life, we fought. I was a teenager.
Mm-hmm.
I thought I knew everything,
Mm-hmm.
and I fought with my overly high-strung dad. Shocker. I'm shocked.
Yeah.
I'm as opinionated as he was.
Exactly. You guys were just like, that's how me and my dad were too.
And that's how it was. And now, as an adult, if he was here, he'd be my best friend again. Just like when I was a little girl. We'd be best friends. I have no doubt in my mind. But unfortunately, I never got the chance to make that amends with him. And that's why I held on to that grief for so long. Because I was like, well, one, my family really blamed me for him dying. And that doesn't help, obviously. But then at the same time, I blame myself. And I used to cry to Harold, and I'd be like, it's my fault. And, you know, he would get so mad at me and be like, don't say that. Don't, like, it's not fair to you. And he's right, it's not fair. But when you can't bring someone back to life, there's nothing else you can do but think in your head, what could I have done differently? How could I change this? How could I have acted? And now, I will treat everybody. You can be a total dick to me, but I will be nice. I might call you out and maybe make you feel bad for a second, but at the end, I'm going to be like, you're a human being.
Yeah.
And it's okay. It's all right. You're going through some stuff. It's cool. But, you know, whether you're a dick to me or not, I'm going to be here if you need someone to talk to. And if I see somebody on Facebook, or they'll write, like, somebody I don't even talk to, and they'll write a status, and they'll be like, oh, I can't do this anymore, I'll message them. Hey, you want to talk about it? And I don't know if it's going to help. I don't even know if they're going to care that I message them. But I know that I need to do something. Because I had a friend a few years ago, Tristan. I was in track with him for many years. He's such a good guy. He was an animal lover. He was totally, he came to me one time when I lived in the Blue House by you. And we were hanging out. And he was telling me that he was, in debt. He bought a house, and he was paying for it alone. Him and his girlfriend broke up, and he was in debt, and he was really struggling. And I was trying to help him figure out things to do, and he made agate keychains, and I still have one. And he was telling me that it was too much for him, and instead of seeing the signs and being like, we need to get you help. We need to jump on this. I was just like, oh, we should sell your agates. And we did. And, we should talk to the bank, and we should do this. And I was trying to give him solutions to these problems. But when you have such big problems, those solutions do not seem like a reality. He found a home for his dog and killed himself. And it was literally, I had his mom message me and be like, I'm so sorry to tell you this. And it was just like, I had hung out with him a week before and 2 weeks before, and I should have known that something was wrong. And a lot of people that talk about suicide, or even I guess joke about it, and maybe they're not joking, maybe they're serious, but you don't understand that, and this is what you need to understand, is that something may be really freaking hard right now. It could be impossible. But it will not be like that forever. And it won't be. And that's just the reality of it. It's going to be freaking hard. You could be in a hole that's 10 feet tall, and you don't think you're ever going to get dug out of it. But you know what? Freaking foot by foot, you're going to start going up a little bit more. And that's all we can do. And a lot of people that were, depressed or suicidal years ago, they will tell you, I'm so glad that I never gave up. That I stayed and stuck it out. And it's sucks to hear. Because people are like, you're wrong. I can't do this. I'm not going to make it out. But you can. It's just going to be really freaking hard.
Yeah. Talking about suicide, I've told you before that I had a boyfriend, that took his life. And that was one of the most tragic things I've ever been through in my entire life, and that's something that I have struggled with too. And the thing is a lot of people that they're not going to tell you that they are suicidal, because my belief is that they're ashamed of these thoughts, or they're afraid you're going to leave
or stop them.
Yeah. It's you don't see it coming. And then when it happens, it creates a chaos. It affects everyone, and then people are going to blame, because that's just the easiest thing that they can do because they're hurt.
Mm-hmm.
And so, I was blamed, and I don't blame the people for having those feelings because I understand how grief works, but everyone was hurt, and it's just something that you'll never know why, and that'll always be the question, why? But then there's the sadness of, like, my sadness is I can't believe that they were that broken inside that they thought that was the way out. And it's a literal living nightmare to wake up and then know that that's the reality of what happened. And you'll always wish that you could have done something different. But ultimately, when people are like that and suffering like that, there's something seriously wrong mentally. And they need
actual
counseling.
Help.
And I think too with men, they suppress so much.
Well, the stigma.
There's the stigma, and then they just bottle it all up because men are supposed to be strong and not emotional.
Song? There's a song. It's an artist. Starts with a D. Frick, I cannot think of it. But he sings a song about men.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and it's about the song about men and men's mental health. What is it? What is his name? Dax. His name is Dax, and I'll send you this. And it's To Be a Man, and I'll read a couple lyrics, but I will listen to this song and I will frickin' sob my eyes out because, I don't know if my dad killed himself. It could have been an accident. There was a struggle. It could have been an accident. The gun went off, or, he legitimately tried. And I'll never know. But if it was a suicide, one, I feel so bad because my dad was such a hard worker. He took care of his family for so many years that it would make sense because he had all this pressure to take care of the house, to take care of the family, to make money. I mean, my dad would work 80-hour weeks as an electrician.
And that's what society does.
And that's
it's all supposed to be put on the man.
And luckily that we now live in a day that women are starting to go up and take care of the men, and it's a balance literally between men and women. So I'm glad that we have this podcast that can bring light to the it's okay to feel these ways.
Mm-hmm.
And so here's the lyrics. Here's the first part of the song. I can't hide myself. I don't expect you to understand. I just hope I can explain what it's like to be a man. It's a lonely road, and they don't care about what you know. It's not about how you feel, but what you provide inside that home.
Mm-hmm.
And I will send you this freaking link to this song, but it's so good, and I just cry and I cry and I cry, because if my dad was alive, I would send this song to him, and I would bawl on the phone to him, I just love you so much, I appreciate everything you do. And it might sound super dumb. It might sound really, and it's it's really scary that I actually want to start, one of the things that I really want to start doing is a monthly mental health for men walk, in the mall. Just everybody gets together, and anybody that supports the man in their life comes, or just men need an outlet and they come, and we just freaking walk the mall, and we walk through stores, and we just hang out. But I just feel like there's so much pressure, and you can say that there's the same pressure on women to be good moms, stay-at-home moms, take care of the kids, blah, 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 and it's true, and so the stigma goes both ways, and, that's obviously another topic, but I just am so grateful I'm a woman. I cannot be more yes, it is hard to be a woman. Do not get me wrong. Don't sit there and be like, roo, roo. No, it's very hard to be a woman. We deal with a lot of BS, but to be a man in the world today is, you're literally a man. You literally work.
I tell my boys I'm ma pa. I'm ma and I'm pa. Because I go and do man's work, and then I come home and I cook, and
And even at, you work your manly job.
My manly.
And they.
Super manly.
I mean, at first, when you started working there, I'm sure you were highly discriminated against.
No.
Really?
No.
They were like, you can do
They
it?
treated me like a dude.
Wow.
They were like.
That's shocking, actually.
Well, like, so, running the mini excavator, one of the guys was like, get in there. Go do it. I'm like, I don't know what I'm doing. How else are you gonna learn? And or like the guy that I work with like every day, like some of the other guys will be like, oh, I'll get that for you. Oh, let me do that for you. And then the guy I work with every day, he's like, what are you doing? Why are you helping her? She can do it. And I'm like, no, it's fine.
No, you can do that, please. Yeah, and that's like, that is the, you know, and it's like another topic when you're saying, and, you know, this, it will be controversial, and people that actually watch the podcast will be like, I don't know, but I think that men should be in men's sports, and women should be in women's sports.
Oh, that's a whole nother topic.
And that's a whole nother
That's a
thing,
whole nother
because
topic.
I am not going to be, like, if I'm playing basketball, if I'm hooping with a bunch of randoms, and there's guys and girls, baller, let's go. But if I'm a woman, and I'm going 1v1, I'm a 5'3". If I'm going against a 7-foot muscular dude, I'm gonna get my butt. Can I juke him out? Can I make a few baskets? For sure. Am I gonna get stuffed 80% of the time? Yes, I'm 5 foot tall, son. Like,
yeah,
I don't.
Men are literally physically built different.
And I hate that argument that women are like, I can do whatever a man can do.
Well, I've tried.
To a point.
So, like, there's things that I can't lift and do, and, like, they watch me struggle.
And then they'll go and be like, yeah.
I'm sure they get a good laugh. But, well, by the end of the season,
You're pretty ripped.
I'm pretty ripped.
You're pretty. And it's true. We can build our muscles and, like, whatever, but,
like... There were things that I couldn't lift. Like, so we got, like, a reel trailer, so we use big-ass reels for fiber. And so there's a bar that we have to take off the reel trailer.
Oh.
At the beginning of the season, I couldn't take it off, but at the end of the year, I took it off. I'm like, guys, look at this. I'm like, look what I can do.
Look what I can do. And have you ever watched that Saturday Night Live?
Which one?
And it's like, look what I can do. And it's just, it's an older one, but he's got, like, a bobbed haircut.
Oh, no, you're thinking Mad TV.
Am I?
Stewie.
Yeah, Stuart. No, stop. Look what I can do.
Yeah, then he does, like, he jumps and he's looking all dumb. Look what I can do. That's like
favorite.
Carson.
Look what I can do. That is literally my favorite. But it's like I take pride in doing things that, like, my brothers or my husband can't do. Yeah, hell yeah. Like, I can deep clean a house in less than an hour and still go on about my day. Or I can multitask with 7 different things and still get them all done exactly when they're supposed to be done. Some men cannot do that. I literally just asked Harold to help me cut the dog's meat the other day, and he was standing like, and I said, can you help me? And he's like, wait, what? I'm like, you don't see me doing all these things. I was like, grab a bag, put some meat in it, and zip it up, throw it. He's like, which stuff? I'm like, oh, man. Thank you, Kat. Love that for me. Love that for me. But no, I definitely think that we went through all the topics, which I told you we were going to do without even noticing. But I think for me, as married, no kids, just dogs, it's really easy for me to, and a business owner and all that, and working, I work 2 jobs. Finding balance for me is like taking that breath and being like, okay, yes, I get to do these things today, because that's the mindset I had to change. Like, I have to do these things and I get to do these things are very different. I get to do this, and this today, but what am I going to do for myself? Is it going to be, you know, play video games, or go for a walk with the dogs, or take a really long hot shower, or...
Was this supposed to be doing that?
She's on a fucking button. Can you go? Can you fuck off, dude? Can you frick off?
Can you frick off, please? Like, why, though? They're like children. Like, that's like my cat, too.
You're the worst.
I'll be in my room trying to study. So my cat, I have my massage table out in the hallway. And I always yell at him because he just wants to. It's his scratching post.
Oh,
it's in a
man.
case. He's already destroyed the table. Whatever. I mean, it still works. But, yeah, so he knows he's not supposed to be doing that. And I hear, and then I look over there and he literally, like, leans back and he's like, just staring at. We're making eye contact. Because he knows he's not supposed to. And I'm like,
spray it with lemon juice. One, he'll never
got
do
a
it again.
Spray gun, so I blast him.
She sits on this this printer right here. She'll sit on it, and then she'll try to hit those business cards. She'll reach up, and I'll be sitting right here, and I'll go, Pepper!
Like, you get the whole house.
And then she'll duck down into the printers, like I'm about to beat her butt.
Yeah.
And then she'll be like, and I'll be like, lay there! And then, like, 5 seconds later, she'll try to jump on my PC, and I'll grab her by the neck, because cats and dogs both, you can friggin' grab by the neck, like their moms do in the wild.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll hold her, and I'll go, why are you like this? And then I'll throw her down.
This one?
And, this one? This stupid
one?
cat? And I'll yell at her, and she'll literally, like, look at me like, I don't really care, dude. I just want to mess up your stuff. And it's so...
They're very intelligent creatures, and they know how
They're
to,
too
they know
smart.
how to mess with you.
Seriously, they are. My mom just said to me, she's like, you can leave your dogs and for blah, 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 and they'll never remember who you are. I was like, dude, you know nothing about dogs. Like, they 100% will remember me, and they will miss me.
They're animals.
They will
Don't
grieve.
you ever see those animals they release into the wild, like lions and stuff, and then their caretakers go to see them, and they're excited, and
Yeah.
they love them up?
Yeah, like the
they're
lions.
Gonna remember.
Yes, they will remember. And, for me, my animals are, like, 100% the balance. Like, my husband allowing me to get 2 dogs and 2 cats is, have I fought tooth and frickin' nail?
I don't ask permission, I just get them, and
just-
then surprise!
And if I had the money to keep getting animals, I would. And Harold would probably divorce me, for sure. Because there's so
I don't
many
think so.
instances. Well, when I have a farm, he's got one thing. He's like, when Nama and Roscoe die, no more animals. And I was like,
I'm gonna have a zoo.
I'm literally, my life goal is to have a sanctuary. No, I think it's just, you need to find that passion, because that is going to bring the most balance. When you can make your passion into your reality, and, like, with Ponder and Dabbler's wellness, health and wellness, like, we are literally moving forward and creating our own reality, because if I get to work full-time with animals, screw balance, I'm balanced out. I'm good. I don't
Animal
need anything.
therapy.
Well, that's eventually what I want. I want, to bring animals into schools and nursing homes, and, and have that, like, animals that are in shelters, there's some animals that will spend months there. And, you guys chill out.
I'm just, like, grabbing my beverage.
and, is it open?
No, I got it now,
Oh.
because they will.
Do you want to put it here instead?
Yeah.
And, that's what I want. I want to help people find, a lot of people are like, I really need love. But in reality, you just need to be loved. You don't necessarily...
You need to learn to love yourself first.
100%.
And that's one thing that I wish I would have done when I was younger, because I got involved, because that's what I thought I wanted and needed.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know why. Maybe it's like it was imprinted in my brain, like living in a small town, like the right thing to do is to have a family and then have kids, and like that's what I wanted to do at a young age. And then I ended up getting pregnant with Dayton at 18 and had him at 19. And I look back now, and I look at Dayton now, he's almost 16, and I was around the same age when I started dating his dad, and I'm like, I tell these guys, I'm like, okay, that's great that you want to have, like, girlfriends and stuff, but, like, don't do what I did. Like, I love you guys very much, but I had you at a young age, and I want you guys to learn to love yourselves first and learn what makes you happy. Do not look for the love that you need from someone else, because then it'll rule your mind. Like, there's so much that I didn't do because I ended up in a toxic relationship. Like, but at that age, I didn't know it was a toxic relationship. And then it got really toxic and blah, blah, blah. But, yeah, learn, like, I try to tell the younger kids, like, learn to love yourself first. I know, like, you want to have that girlfriend and that love. And the first love is the most hurtful, painful love when it, like, gets bad. I do remember that.
My brother, one of my brothers, is going through his first love right now.
My brother, too.
And it's
like,
rough because I'm their sister. We're their sisters, right? We know everything that... We don't know everything, but I do know what a young toxic relationship looks like. I remember my first love, even though, you know, my first love wasn't in a relationship. He was using me for things, and I didn't realize. I thought he loved me, and it wasn't love. It was just, I want this from you, and I'm going to use it and use you until I am tired of it. But with my brother, you know, he's been with his girlfriend for like 4 months.
And unfortunately, that guy, too, probably, that's the only way he knew how to love, because that's what he was taught. It roots from somewhere.
Exactly. And so and so he's going through this relationship, and he wants to end it, and she doesn't. And so, you know, it's becoming very toxic, and he's staying with her because I'm really proud of my younger brother, because he's a legitimate good guy. He, you know, my youngest brother, who just turned 18, he's kind of a dick when it comes to girls. Like, he doesn't care. I'm glad that he tells them right off the bat, like, hey, I just want to do this. I don't want to date. I just want to hang out, whatever. And they ended up, I was the same way. Literally that age. After I got my heart broken, I was like, I don't want to date you. I just want to hang out. And so now my youngest brother is not like that at all. He's very sweet. You know, he is thoughtful. He gets gifts, and you know, they've been dating for 4 months, and they say, I love you, and hang out all the time. Mm-hmm. And he wanted to break up, and she didn't want that, and she was really upset about it. And he's like, I don't want to hurt her feelings, so I'm going to stay with her. But, you know, I asked him, I said, dude, are you going to marry this person? And, like, you shouldn't even be thinking about marriage in your sophomore year. But I said, are you going to marry this person? He said, no. And I said, then don't continue dating her. Because you need to focus on you. You need to, and I'm sure, he's got my blood in him, so I'm sure he loves himself.
Yeah.
Because one thing about the Gentry, we got good self-esteem.
Yeah.
So that's good. Mm-hmm. But also, and he grew up very well. He had, I don't know if any trauma he has came from me and my older brother, for sure. And
my siblings got trauma from me as well.
And
I'm sorry,
that's our job. That's our
right.
job. I'm supposed to traumatize you so that you can take any trauma anybody else gives you. So you're welcome. We're not sorry. You're welcome.
Yeah.
And it's just like, and we're trying to teach them things because we don't want you to get your heart broken.
Yeah.
And I tried to give him really good advice, and I'm hoping that he listens. But ultimately, you're gonna get your heart broken, and you're gonna know how it feels, and it's gonna suck. But it's okay, because we're going to get through it. And like I was talking to his girlfriend, she said, I can't live without him. And I said, well, you're in 9th grade.
Yeah.
And you lived before you met him.
Yeah.
So I'm pretty sure you could live without him.
You'll probably survive.
And it's hard. I get it. Young love. It feels like you're dying. I get it. But you need somebody that has gone through it, that's been through it, that got through it, and is able to be like, hey, you're being kind of crazy right now, and it's okay. You're being a little much, and it's okay.
Take the crazy down a couple notches.
And it's not a bad thing. And you know, if she is gonna watch this podcast, because I know she does watch some of my podcasts, it's not that I'm ragging on you, or that I'm making fun of you, or that because I was crazy.
We all were that crazy young high school girl in love. Trust me.
100%.
And still kind of am crazy. So
I agree. I'm still crazy, but I learned to channel that crazy for the good of humanity.
Yeah.
And
it's a learning experience.
It's hard. It's gonna be hard. But you know what? As somebody that went through that heartbreak and has a friend here who also went through a heartbreak, it's good to feel those things, but it's not good to hold on to them, and it's not good to let them rule your life.
You have to feel the pain. It's a part of growth. Unfortunately, like, I absolutely hate it when I'm feeling certain ways, but you have to learn to sit in that in order to heal. You 100%. Have to feel, and my quote, motto, whatever is, you have to feel to heal, or it's not going to happen.
Put that on a t-shirt, baby.
Yeah,
dang.
You have to feel to heal. And
I love that.
I used to numb and drink about everything, so I wasn't feeling the things. And so, like, once I quit drinking, I'm like, oh my God.
This feeling, this is so weird. I was the same way after smoking. I was like, hold on a second. I got to actually deal with my stuff. That sucks. And now that I've dealt with it, I'm so much better off. So, you know, I think this is a really beneficial podcast overall. Is there anything else?
Yeah, so I'll just touch briefly, like, so we didn't bring it up. Dabblers Anonymous on Facebook is the page that I started for people that struggle with mental health and addiction. The reason why I started it is because I've been losing so many friends to addiction. So I started it as an outlet for people to come to that are feeling lost. Right now it's just getting started up, so it's mostly just like educational videos and inspirational stuff like that, but eventually, you know, I plan on doing a lot more with that. But just take the time to find balance in life and learn to love yourself. It's a long journey, and just ultimately take care of yourself. You know, we have one life. Don't waste your time being sad, you know, and stuck in your head. Like, it's a big world out there. Go travel, go explore. You know, go see things, and this life can be beautiful, and you're the only one that can, you know, see that. And
nobody else can see through your eyes.
Yeah, you got to take care of yourself. Nobody's gonna save you but you.
And Put that on a t-shirt.
Yeah, like. And,
seriously.
I just know that from life experience, so.
Yeah, exactly. And I'll post the Dabblers Anonymous Facebook link in this video description, so make sure you go check that out. She will be starting her own podcast eventually, so I cannot wait for that, and hopefully I will be a guest.
Yes.
And we will you will see Carlene. You will have seen her in my posts on Instagram if you go stalk me. She was literally in the wedding. So she will be around. I'm sure she'll love to come back on too eventually, and so we will... you know, if you're watching this video and you have any questions for Carlene, post in the comments. I'm gonna give her the link to this, and she can answer, and we can definitely touch base with anything and anybody that needs to talk or whatever. And mostly, the point of this podcast, and this is what I had somebody say, you should really make your target audience men, because that's who watch podcasts. And I said, my target audience is world changers. Mm-hmm. And world changers can be any age, any race, any gender. It doesn't matter. The fact that we are speaking to you, if you're not a world changer already, we're hoping that you communicating with world changers will help you become a world changer. Or if you're already wanting to become a world changer, you just don't know what a world changer is or how to describe the feeling that you want to be. A world changer is that you want to positively change the world for the better, because what are you going to do? Change it for the worse? No. Calm down. You're fine. Like, take a breather. You're okay. So that is what this YouTube's for. I stream on Twitch as Future President, and that is who our community is. We are world changers. We have a Discord. We have the YouTube. We have the Twitch. We have Instagram and Twitter and TikTok and all these things, because... one, I'm not a huge fan of social media, but it's the best way that I can reach every single world changer in the world, and that is exactly what we're going to do here, and that is why we partner with people like Carlene, who is also a world changer, trying to help people every single day. So thank you so much for coming on. I really appreciate it. I know that it can be kind of nerve-wracking sitting in front of a camera with a glow-in-the-dark mic in your face, but it definitely is... you know, even if 5 people view this video, it's going to help those 5 people. And that's like the main goal.
Baby steps.
It's your baby steps.
Baby steps.
So signing off. Carlene, say goodbye.
Yes, thank you for having me.
And we will see you next week.